Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of my Devblog from Wisp, where I talk about the progress of Wisp. First of all, I wanted to say I'm sorry that I didn't post anything last week, but last week I only had one day again, and it was also Eastern, so I didn't get as much done as I'd like. I also contacted Microsoft at the time to trying to get Wisp on Xbox One. So I didn't really have anything to say. That's why I didn't post anything. But this week I'm back and I actually have done quite a lot, like not, but quite much. Another thing I wanted to say is that I'm currently um, uh, I'm currently in the Unity editor because I basically don't have a playable game, or I can play the game, but I'm currently working on the UI, so the menu you see here, and it's not functional right now. Usually I'm trying to finish up the stuff that I'm showing off, but the UI I didn't get to finish yet. This is still an early version, stuff might change, but as you can see, you can already select stuff. But nothing happens if you press the button, so you can just look at it. That's all. Yeah, but I'm kind of like thinking like that might be good enough for the alpha version. Like I said, this is still a little bit boring. I think there's not enough stuff here, as I said. But just so to be clear, like if you press play. Later you will get level selections and stuff. Obviously, the options menu will definitely not be in the alpha version, at least not in the first one. In later versions it might be in, but the options I don't want to do for the alpha because I can just ship it with the Unity options, which will be fine for me for the beginning. Later on, obviously not so much. The exit will obviously work. Yeah, so I think I went over the menu enough. So let's stop this, open another scene. I will probably go first to the last scene. What I've been working on besides the UI changes are basically feedback I got from users. So the first thing I want to show off is that some users told me that first of all the player itself is too small. I also kind of wanted to polish the player anyway, so I didn't like how it looked like, and so I did that. And also what happened, what I did do in addition is I got also feedback that some people could not distinguish between the player and the what is that name? Like the thing that is dragging behind him. I can show it quickly so it's maybe clearer. So as you can see here, oh, oops. Already dead. As you can see here, the player is now a little bit different than before. By the way, I'm sorry for the lag. This is a Unity editor stuff. In the build mode, it's no longer working. What I mean with the lag is that the player is kind of like, it's like acting out. It's like jumping a little bit. If I'm in the finished build without recording, everything works fine. I did some work on that. Because I thought stuff was not really working well. But as it turned out, it's just an editor problem, and yeah, I don't know the reason for this. I did some performance improvements and changed some other things, but I will come to that later. So the first thing I did, like I said, is the player, which actually cost me quite some time because like this is a complete new particle effect and the entire behavior is different. It's also a lot bigger, which does make it sometimes harder, but sometimes easier. As you can see here, this is actually really hard now because he's already here, but let's see if I can get through here. Yes, I can. Because I'm bigger, it's easier to hit the enemies, basically, which is great. But it's also easier to get hit, so... Oh, that was lucky. Anyway, so yeah, you already know this level, so I died there a lot already. Yeah, so another thing I did from last week is some performance improvements. I was already talking about because like right now you saw it's like running at 70 FPS, even with the recording, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in full screen here, or almost full screen. Is that correct? Yeah, 65, 60. around 60. I set the target frame rate also to 60. Yeah, it goes a little bit lower, 40. Yeah, but like I have a really weak PC right now, um, and the recording is also on, so I think it's fine. I'm from the performance perspective, I always try to get the recording to work also with the game here, and I want to be still able to play it in a good manner, which I feel like it's working right now. The only thing in the editor, as I said, is the jumping. I also found out that like what I mean with the jumping is, maybe I can show it quickly. If I move my character, basically the movement is a little bit jerky right now. It's like always going forward and then braking, forward and braking. And this is from Unity, the physics stuff. But as I said, this is not in once it's built, even on lower frame rates, I tested that. But it seems to be only an editor problem. I don't know how why that is, but well, anyway, so that's what it is. I cannot tell you anything else. I didn't have it when I built the game. I almost got nuts with that. So, but back to the performance stuff I did. In the past, I already told you that I changed how the game runs. I added the Bloom script, which is like I added the cheapest one. So basically, the currently way I'm releasing it will always be on the performance side. It should still look nice enough from the performance side, even if you have the Bloom script, even if you don't have the Bloom script at all. Like I can show you. This will, by the way, also increase the frame rate, obviously. If I go here and like we have now 50 FPS. If I disable the Bloom script, it's getting more ugly already, but like that's what it is. If you don't have the Bloom effect, it's getting a little bit more ugly. Wait, where is it here? Maximize, so you can see. Yeah, so as you can see here now, it's you don't really see the difference, but it also feels a little bit better. The frames per second it's maybe 10 frames per second more. So what I did is I am now doing a combination of both. As you can see here, the particles themselves still have now the blurred radius around them, but with the Bloom script, it will increase it and also make them glow more. So if I minimize again, turn on the Bloom again here, and maximize again, you will see that first of all, everything will be a little bit more glowy and it looks better. What I did compared to the last time, I reduced the number of times the Bloom script runs. You can basically set here, if I go back again, you can basically set here how many times how many blur iterations the Bloom script should do. Before I had 2 blur iterations, which will still look better, obviously. But right now, I think it's fine with only 1, which I'm going to say I will change this in the final version of the game. You obviously will be able to change the stuff around, and I will do some really high settings that are really good and some really low settings that are the worst one. But currently what I want to do is because also I want to record on the system, I want to have the low end, maybe not the lowest, but the low end of the settings still look pretty good, so that in later versions, if you do if you play the lowest end stuff, still looks fine. As you can see here, like by the way, here you can see it very clear. The extra blur iteration cost me around maybe 10 FPS almost. I don't know. It doesn't really show sometimes, but it really makes a huge difference. When I turned it off, I felt a huge difference, and I also found out that turning it from 2 to 1 blur iteration also made a huge difference. If you make this more complex, you can do some nice stuff with lens flares as well, and I will do all that stuff later, and then maybe record also on my other PC, my gaming PC. So you can see that stuff. But that's basically what I did. So basically I went for a combination of both, which most of the time is probably the correct thing. So you still can run the game without Bloom, without looking too ugly. Like, it doesn't look that as good as before, I have to say. It's obviously, I can do only so much, but it runs a lot smoother. So I don't know, like, it's still not looking that bad. It's not as great as with the Bloom, but it's still fine, I think. It's not bad. It basically looks the same before I turned on the bloom, which I then liked the effect, but as I said, so performance. Yeah, I also did some other performance stuff. I looked again at the colliding of the particles. So if I'm going back in and then putting the break in, the cheating break. As you can see here, these are the particles. What I did before is basically I calculated if all these particles, not only on the screen, like even further out than are colliding with the player. And the only thing I checked if they are colliding with the player, which obviously costs some performance, which, like, I knew that, but it was not that bad, so I kind of ignored it. What I'm doing now is that each particle system, if I'm going into the wait, I have to not maximize this, into the scene view. So as you can see here, this is basically one particle system. What I'm doing here is I'm having a line that is drawn, and along the line particles are spawning basically, and I'm also offsetting it in the y-axis in this case. Basically this here is one particle system, which, yeah, like here it might be better. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But basically this is one particle system, and each of these particle systems will now only take the 5 particles that are closest to me and try to see if I collide with them. The reason why I'm doing that is I cannot just take the closest one, because the closest one might not be the one I'm colliding with, which might sound irritating a little bit, but once you take into consideration that basically it's always the middle point, the distance is calculated, so it's always completely in the middle, and the particles are differently big and small. You can see that there could be a case where basically this particle is really big and this is really small, and so the particle would be closer to me, but the corners would be from the other one would be closer to me. That's why I took 5, which should basically take care of everything. I didn't find any bug for now, and even if there's a bug, it would be a real corner case in favor of the player. I'm always thinking about, when I'm doing stuff like that, to do it in favor of the player, because then the player can feel lucky, and he is then lucky. Like, it's not that bad if the player gets a little bit lucky and is not dead instead of being dead. If it's the other way around, it's really bad. If, like, for some reason the collision would detect it, but still, even if it's not colliding, then it would be really bad. But I'm really glad that it's not the case. Yeah, so that's another thing I did. I think I did it already last week. The next thing I did is, which is also from suggestions from you guys, the listeners, is somebody told me that he thinks it's important that you feel progression from level to level. And what he meant is that he didn't like that the color didn't change. I on purpose selected the last level, so you see basically that's almost like what I was always showing off. But like, I will start this level once more, so you can see the colors. I will go a little bit further here, so you see also the orange. The orange is basically like a more light orange, almost going into yellow. Not really, like. But once I switch the levels, you will see that the colors. So I will switch now levels, scenes. That's why I wanted to stay in the editor, because I need to switch scenes a lot. What did I do? Don't save. I don't think I did anything I want to save. So as you can see here now, the colors changed drastically. Not drastically, but they changed quite a lot. You can still not see the obstacles here. Maybe I should go to the next level. I will. You can see here, that was not a good example. But yeah, here, these are, this is the orange you see now. Sometimes it's lighter. It's because I basically did it with complementary colors. So every time I switch a level, I will change the color a little bit and then show the complementary color. I do that. I'm going to a little bit into code today. I hope you don't mind if like if you guys don't want to see that stuff, you have to say something. But I didn't get feedback for this in either way, so I think it's fine. So oh, that's meta. That's not what we want. The meta files here are what Unity is creating for. I'm doing it really, and it doesn't really matter. For keeping track of import settings and stuff in Unity. So what I did here is I went to the site peloton.com. I don't know. I just grabbed the first one that came up in Google, which could generate colors for me. And maybe I can show it there also. Basically, I can save these colors in this format, but it's probably easier to go to their website itself and show you how I did it. So basically, 1 second, once the site is loaded, yes, we are here now. What I did is, yeah, I took this basically and selected some place. I don't know, like maybe starting from here, something like that. It doesn't really matter. I didn't want it to get too far into green, because if I'm too green, it's not nice. You can also change here the layout of that, and like I played around with that a lot, but the basic gist is I did this. I then added the complementary color, which in this case is this, and then basically, do you see the hue here? If you drag this around, the hue changes. So for each level, I will increase the hue by 1. So you will get a really, really slow progression, which will turn into the different colors. This is not the correct color combination I have here. I don't know which one I used. I would need to look it up. But basically, you can see here that I did exactly that. So the colors will change over time, and I don't know how many colors do I have right now. You can see it here, 129, 130. 130 different color combinations I have. I'm not yet sure if it will stay always like only increasing by 1, and it also depends on how many levels I have. Maybe you have to stay longer in from one level to another in one color. But currently I'm basically doing a really slow progression, which I hope will feel nice. I also am thinking about doing the same for the level select screen. So yeah, that's that. That was, for me, it was actually kind of some work, because I needed to copy all these color informations, which takes some time. But I thought about coding this, but I really didn't feel like it would give me much, because I already tried once coding color stuff. It's actually pretty complicated to get good results. And I was happy with doing it via color theory, so I didn't really want to get too deep into all that stuff, and I just used that. It took me like maybe 2 hours or 1.5. I don't know. I didn't, maybe 1. I really cannot say. But like it took me quite some time to get this done. But now I have it done and I have everything saved, so I can continue moving on. Yeah, so that's basically already it. The things I did. I can check once more the list I wrote. Give me a second. The list I wrote. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically everything I did for the last 2 weeks, basically. Some performance improvements, some polish stuff. That's the stuff I already said I want to do, and yeah. What I want to do next, before the alpha version, I still need to finish the UI, as you saw. But I also want to add some analytics, because I think that's the one really important thing for me before I am able to ship it out to you guys for testing. Is I really need to know. I really need to know where people quit. If people quit, if they don't quit, it's always nice. But let's be honest, probably people will not play through even which is not a huge part of the game, the 20 levels I have right now. Most people will probably just quit before that. And I want to know where, if they just don't like the game and they quit immediately at the beginning. Oh, I also want to add here information that you can fly into this, because I had a friend of mine playing and he didn't really realize it, so I will probably write it down here. Maybe I need to do some more polish there, but I think I'm fine. Like once the UI is done, the analytics are in, I think I will be I will give out an alpha version. I also still need to ask Microsoft if that's fine for them, but I think they should be fine. At some point I read something that Microsoft doesn't allow to publish stuff beforehand or something like that. I'm not sure if that's still valid, or even if it's valid, if going to an alpha is even counting as releasing. I guess it's not, but anyway, I just want to make sure, and I will ask them once I have the NDA stuff. Like they told me they will send me an NDA to sign. Yeah, so thanks again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit different this time than the other videos, but maybe that's better for you. If you feel either way, please tell me. I can do both of these types of videos. I can do it in the editor. I can go more detailed into coding. Whatever you prefer. I'm happy to deliver, basically, because this is for you. This is not for me. Maybe if you liked what you saw, you can follow me on Facebook, or follow my game on this game on Facebook. It's Will Glow the Wisp on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter, which is @KeyboardSamurai. You can also check out the IndieDB page of the game, or look into Reddit stuff. Wherever you want. I basically always post all the updates there. You can also subscribe to this channel, by the way. Obviously, if you want to get all the videos, that's a good way to get all the videos. So subscribe, follow me on Facebook or the game. Yeah, and have a great week. Bye.